About to get started real quick. It's another episode of Manhood Mindset. We got a special guest today. One of the good friends of mine is one of the coolest geniuses. There you go. All right, what's going on? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and get started, bro, because I already know you got that look on your face. So we're gonna go ahead and take care of business. You know what I mean? So, ladies and gentlemen, man, my name is Dr. Mary Christopher Pugh of Manhood Mindset. I have a special guest today. We're gonna get into the mindset of Charrod Taylor, founder, CEO, inventor, and I would say the soul and spirit of Insphigher2motivate. Mr. Taylor, what's good with you, brother?
Salutations, Doc.
All right, that's what's up. Short and potent. All right, man. Who is Charrod Taylor, man? Let's go ahead and get to the people, man. Let's go ahead and tell the people who you are, what you do, and why you do it, brother. So who is Charrod Taylor, man?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm a native of Miami, Florida. Currently reside in greater Atlanta area.
Okay.
I'm a father of 3 and an educator of 12 years. Passion for working with kids, making sure that they have everything they need, the school building or outside the school building. So just doing my best to uplift the community.
All right. So you're from Miami-Dade County to be exact. Is that
That's
correct?
Right.
Okay. Now tell us, what did you see in your childhood to make you want to address what you see in the children's experience today? What did you see at a young age that brought you here?
Perseverance. When you go down to Miami, Florida, there's 2 parts. There's South Beach. That's the part that's on the TV. That's the part that's easily accessible. And in better words, safest. But when you talk about the heart and the soul of Miami, you got to go across that bridge. All right. You're going to see a lot of aspiring youth, even aspiring adults, man. They're just trying to make a better life for themselves, build greater things for their family. Coming out of that mold and coming to Georgia, getting greater opportunities during my high school career. Also played my college ball here. So I'm definitely grateful for being allowed to be here. More than anything. And me and my other brothers and sisters out of a situation to where we would have greater opportunities. So even though I'm not a mother, I'm definitely a father. I want to make sure I build that bridge for those that are looking to aspire to do so as well.
Well, I'll put it like this. A lot of the things that you're saying right now, the youth that we're all trying to work with now, they need to be able to see a clear picture of what we saw so they know the intent behind the work that we do. So the young people that engage with you for the first time, help them understand why you do what you do and how should they interpret your actions and your words, your tone of voice, your facial expressions. How should they interpret Charrod Taylor?
Well, first they would have to understand that I've probably seen some of the vision and some of the things that they're seeing right now. I just think the scale is different. On one end, you may have somebody who's lived in poverty, didn't have any lights, food, water, had to move from place to place, nomad of sorts. Then you have the other ones that, that probably had to live on the street, for the family. It means some illegal, some legal. But at the end of the day, when what you're doing what's right for your family, everything else doesn't matter. So just understand that even though I might not have walked your current path, understand that I've probably seen your vision.
Okay. All right. Now, for the sake, and let me give you the intent behind me doing this. Sometimes when people check in and out of lives, they don't get the information to contact you until later on, and they might have checked out. So throughout this interview, I'm going to ask you to repeat how people can get in contact with you. So if you don't mind at this time, tell the people how can they get in contact with you and how can they support your movement?
Well, first and foremost, if you want to support the movement, you got to know about the movement. So I would say first visit the webpage, which is Insphigher2motivate.com. You can contact me at Insphigher2motivate@gmail.com. I'm also on social platforms such as Facebook, IG, and Twitter, of course.
Gotcha. And if people wanted to financially support you with that, is that also available on the website?
Yes, all those means are available on the website as well.
Got you. All righty. All right. So moving forward, I wanted to make sure we do that just so we can catch everybody who comes in and out throughout the day. Because some people are at work, but I do want them, just in case if they do see this, they get allow all the information they're going to need as well, even no matter what time they actually come into the interview. So you mentioned perseverance. I need to ask you to teach us what you learned about yourself when you dug yourself out of a bad situation. Teach us not necessarily the situation itself. I'm asking specifically, what did you have to learn about yourself to get yourself out of that situation?
First of all, I would say that I would have to know myself in the sense of what I can and what I can't do, and
All right.
willing to learn to do. So just because I can't do something doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And do I have the willingness to go ahead and learn how to do it? So
Mm-hmm.
when I say perseverance, for myself, it's about, you have a journey, you have a goal in mind, you have priorities set. In life, there are going to be things thrown at you, different variables,
Mm-hmm.
both expected, both and unexpected. But it's how you respond to it. At the end of the day, as Charrod Taylor, as me, as I was raised, you're not going to see me wither. You're not going to see me sit down. You're not going to see me or me. I'm going to find a way to get it done. Perseverance, to me, that's what it speaks on. So I've heard the word growing up. I've heard the word throughout my life, and I'm going to continue because it speaks volumes of who you are and who you can be, both young and old.
Mm-hmm. I got a question about the parents. I'm gonna give you a scenario that I've seen in a lot of my work. I've noticed some parents who are insecure with their angle of parenting. Some of them are not secure in how they can communicate with their specific, their child, their offspring, right? What kind of, I would say, suggestions or advice do you have to parents if they're trying to reestablish or even initially establish a functional connection with their children?
Listen, I think, and I don't know every dynamic of every family, of every parent, every household, but what I've found in my experience is listening sets you up for success. It creates understanding. And regardless if an years old or 25 years old, they still have an understanding. They still have a thought process and a say so on how they feel about things. So hearing them will tell you exactly why they go about the way they go about life. So I think doing that, create that two-way conversation, build that relationship. But at the same time, with parents, uh, I would say that understanding also it's a village. So if you need help, while we're here. I grew up, like I said, in a single parent home. My mother been for four boys and one daughter.
Mm,
He didn't do that alone. There were
mm.
individuals throughout my lifetime that had to step in and at times set me straight. And I'm very grateful to those individuals. And I just want to make sure that whatever me else.
How, for a parent, say for instance, if you're a parent, you're in a whole nother city, you don't know that many people, and you may be a single parent, you're working a lot, you're trying to, provide for your kid. However, you have trust issues, you don't know a lot of people. What can you say to that parent to help them create their own village? What do they need to do what steps do they need to take to introduce themselves or get involved for the sake of their child? Because some people are moving to cities and have to relocate because of the pandemic. They lost their jobs. They've had to do things outside of their norm. So the parents who are trying to adapt to their new way of life, what kind of suggestions do you have for them to create their own village for the sake of the child's development?
Well, when you're talking about a child, and the one entity that that they're going to be a part of is the school.
Mm-hmm.
That time you can get involved, with all right. Every school typically, some type of extracurricular activity, some type of organization, PTA, something to where you can get
Mm-hmm.
heard. It is at that time where you can also interact with other parents. Typically those parents that are at those meetings and are at those functions are willing to help and support and even point you in the right direction of things you need. You know, I would also say reach out to your city government, find out what type of programs are in place for your. Believe it or not, there's a lot of money out here to help kids. And if you really want to do so, all it takes for you to do is just to research.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now and I think you told me this a while back, man. You told me something that kind of changed my life is no matter what you're looking for, you will find it.
Mm.
No matter what you look for, you will find it. So for the parents who may be listening, if you've made it up in your mind that there's nothing out there to help you, you'll never find it if you made it up in your mind. But for the parents who are looking for resources and they're doing their due diligence to find some things that can support them and their child, even if they can't find the resources, they're going to find somebody who knows about the resource that can help them, give them access to it. So if you're a parent that's listening to Charrod Taylor telling you about your options, just because you haven't seen it before doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Absolutely.
So just for the sake of that, man, just keep going. So let's switch gears a little bit. We're going to the profession. Let's go to the personality. All right. So now tell people what type of personality you have. And then we're going to go into the music, the books, the things that give you inspiration, the things that give you life. What do you do to remain, I would say, at ease, at peace, things that create serenity for you. So your personality, first of all, tell the people your personality for the outsiders looking in.
That's a tough question to answer.
I know.
Why I say so because you is going to be different, and it's based on what they have with you. So I would say if you want to know my personality, come see me and get to know me, and then your own.
For the people who don't, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I've heard get to know other people or get to know me, right? So provide a couple of steps for people who don't even know how to do that. So if they say, I want to get to know people, how do I do that? So can you give them a couple of steps they can use?
Well, with the pandemic going on, of course, getting out, being a part of functions and events and things like that may be different. Pandemic has also taught us and provided us is how we can use social media platforms, how we can use technology. So interact with me on social media. If you see me out, don't be afraid of the stoic face. It's always behind it. All right. As you and I both know, on that old kind of Statesboro, I love it. So you will always find me at the good eating spots.
Yes, sir.
And that's why I'm very grateful that they fed me well.
Man, hey, we call them the brothers of the same appetite, man. There's a lot of people who don't have the same hunger journeys.
Right.
Man, all right. So check this out. All right, let's go to the music. Now, you and I, we have a relationship with a lot of 80s, 90s music, man. We do. You know, when you came, when we was hanging out all the time, we was at each other's houses, man. You know, I'm ridiculously, I would say, loyal to the Dungeon Family, Outkast, Goody Mob. Hey, it's just what it is. It's just what it is. So, but you told me a lot about your musical inspirations, man. And one of the things that we had in common was Soul Food. That first Goody Mob album. So, tell us a little bit about your musical inspirations and what did they do for you?
Let me tell you something. Growing up in Miami, Florida, you know what we listened to down there. It was always it was Trick, you know what I mean? And still love my Miami group. And when my mom moved me up here to Georgia, back in 1996, some of y'all went. All right, I am old. But not a great year for Southern hip hop. What you women come out, you had Dungeon Family come out during that time. You had Scarface, you had Love. I mean, you even go to Midwest, you had Do or Die, you had you had a huge arsenal to listen to back then. So a lot of say y'all young y'all ain't listening to, but the content in some of those albums is specifically still standing, and so
Yep.
and
Yep.
and
Yep.
all
Yeah.
those albums help create a mindset
Mm-hmm.
of awareness and also community outreach. What
Mm-hmm.
that taught me then was get involved in your community, because at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
that's all you have. Nobody cares about it except the ones who live in that community.
So I put like this. I remember, I remember. There was a. We used to laugh at this skit. I forgot if it was on the first Good Mob album or the second one. No, it was on the second one. Well, Git was like, "Hey man, if after you pour out the liquor, man, don't throw the bottle right at him, bro.
Yeah,
Go."
yeah,
Like, and it made so much sense, bro, because he was like, "Yeah, you can have fun, man, but don't ruin your own, community in the name of fun, man." So, I mean, it was so many life lessons, man. And I just got finished looking at their Drink Champs interview, and I think it's one of the most impeccable interviews that I've ever seen. Because I always try to look at as many of the interviews as possible. But this last Drink Champs with Noriega and DJ EFN with Good and Mob on
mm,
there, it's a lot. It's a lot of just like deep truths that are said at that table, man. People get a little libations that you know what I mean. So the truth come out. But I will tell you this: it was a lot of truth that was given. That some that we knew, and it's a lot we didn't
mm.
know. Cause I consider myself a student, bro, but I learned a lot, man. So if you ever got a chance to check that out, please do. Cause I'm getting to a point now where some of the things that we grew up off of, and there's a reason why I asked about your personality and your musical interests, any other artwork, and we're gonna get into sports too, because I know you're a sports guy, you know what I mean, as well. That's a part of your repertoire. That's not your overall identity, but that's a big part of your journey, right? But as far as the music, man, I think the curriculum of the late 80s, 90s music, it has to be investigated, man, because a lot of us had that mentor in the car where we didn't have that mentor in the home.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So when we're downstairs hanging out, it was almost like we had a OG in the CD player instead of an OG coming to, come and talk to us and all of that. I think it was the ultimate form of edutainment, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Some of the best beats in the world, and then they tell you something that'll change your life, and you entertain and educated, and you can go out there and be the best part of yourself, man. So, thank you for that. One of my artists I'm gonna share with you, man. My homeboys, Gamal and all that, Gamal Everett, JB, and Jason, they put me on Devin the Dude.
Mm.
Now I'm gonna tell somebody, I'm gonna say this: Devin the Dude, Outkast, Good and Mob, Scarface. I'm gonna just say it, and I don't expect anybody to agree with me, but this is a result of listening to their music. They all were mental health professionals. They were mental health professionals, and I'm gonna say why. They're not saying that they're counselors and all of that, but what I'm saying is some of the things that they gave you helped you think about things in a totally different way that allows you to enhance your perspective on life that made you bigger than your problems instead of your problems bigger than you.
Right.
I remember this song by Devin the Dude. He said, "Anything is plenty, man. And is better than nothing at all. Anything is plenty, man. Just go out there and get it." You know what I mean? So when it come down to music, and I looked up the word muse the other day, and muse literally means inspiration.
Yeah.
So I said that's where music comes from. So if it doesn't inspire you, and then the word's a big crit, if it don't touch my soul, I can't listen to
Ooh.
it. You know what I mean? So, who are you currently? I know we talked about in the '90s. Is there any modern or contemporary artists? And it don't necessarily have to be hip hop. It could be anybody. It could be gospel, rock, whatever. Is there any contemporary artist that? And I say contemporary means somebody who just came on the scene in the last 5 years, 5, 10 years, or something like that. That you're listening to right now, and if so, who are they and why?
Mm. Well, when you say listening to, that means that on my way to work. What?
Yeah, intentionally listen to, not just hear, not the people you hear, the people that you be like, nope, I'm going to Apple Music. I'm looking in the search bar. I'm typing them in. Boom.
Yeah.
Who are?
Well, I'll say there are a few that I listen to. Of course, Nip stays on repeat.
Got you.
I think, and I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't get on Nip until about a year passing. And I had to go back and listen to some of his mixtapes, you know, Slauson Boy 2. And bro, he's speaking a lot of truth. I think a light taken way. And shouts out to his family, man, because that was one that we definitely could have used during this year. Of course, Currency. I listen to Currency every now and then. J. Cole, Cold World stays on repeat. It just depends on the groove I'm in, bro. But as far as listening to anything new, hey, there's a huge Afro beats, Caribbean influence going on right now. And I would say, as far as PopCon, listen to Pop. I grew up a Buju Banton fan, so
heck yeah,
I listen to Buju.
Buju was a beast.
Yep. So it just depends, bro. Like I have a vast appreciation for music, and at the same time, music. So typically, I'm gonna listen to things that perks my ear, along with the music that goes along with it. Let me think of someone else. I'll tell you somebody that a lot of people are sleeping on. You know, he might be a little bit out of a little bit out of the norm of what we normally listen to, but Jack Harlow.
Okay.
He's interesting character, and I'm gonna say, to the sense of listening to how words would say over the music. It's interesting.
Got you. I know I've dabbled into. Right now, I'm getting into Earth Gang. I got on Earth Gang a little late.
Yes.
I'm also a Logic fan. I've only heard a couple of Logic CDs, man, but every time I listen to him, he's ridiculous. Like when it comes down to wordplay and all of that good stuff. And last but not least, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've gotten into Lil Baby, man. I'm gonna try to listen to his. Lil Baby get down, man. Like I try to, because I'm not gonna lie to you, the cadence of how our contemporary rappers sound right now, there's a lot of similarities in the cadence, meaning the rhythm and everything that they do. So sometimes when I hear the same rhythm, I tap out. But now, just because everyone has the same type of rhythm and same type of voiceovers and voice manipulation and all of that, doesn't mean they're saying the exact same thing, even if they're saying things the same way. So I had to go back and listen to Lil Baby's album and his single he came out during the pandemic over the summer, man, with all the social injustice that's going on. So really pretty much shout out to him. I listened to the Baby as well. I try to listen to NBA Youngboy, Young Dolph. I try to give them a listen because everybody got a lived experience I can learn from. You know what I mean? So I don't go around just because somebody's young or old or I don't know them. I don't go around saying who they ain't. But it's certain people that I do connect to much, much better than other people. So we already know that. Let's move over to sports. And the reason why I say sports is because a lot of people get inspired by sports. And sports, to me, is an imitation of life. Sports.
Easy.
What happened? What I do?
You sound like you about to speak some truth. So I'm just saying, be easy.
Hey man, time ain't promised to nobody. The only thing, but like this, man, if we looking for freedom, I think truth is the cost. So we might as well speak it. You know what I mean? So inspiration, the spark. We dealing with sports, and every time I think about sports, it's something that brings out someone's spark. And you have inspiration to motivate. You know what I'm saying? Inspire to motivate. Right. So you're dealing with spark in itself, and you're doing it in many different ways. You have a professional experience with sports. You have collegiate experience with sports. What is that? K through 12 experience with sports, and life itself is a sport. So I want to ask you your take on the meaning of sports personally for you, and what did you learn about yourself as you were engaged in sports?
Well, I would say even in high school, I've always been labeled the quiet storm. Didn't say much. I played between the whistles, but when the whistle blew, it was a storm. Any type of way I felt about what was going on outside of my life, especially, I can take it out on the field. A lot of times our youth, we don't get involved in enough things that are positive, especially outlets like sports. And sports can be that, so not so much, or not as an influence, as a motivator, but also as a stress relief. And as you said, therapy. For me, one of the things I had to realize is that just because I'm playing in front of a big crowd doesn't mean I have to let the crowd play me.
Hold up. All right. There was a kid that say, "What'd he say, Ma?" All right, I'm gonna be that kid. Ma, what'd he say? Repeat that, please.
Just because you are playing in front of a big crowd, you don't have to let the crowd play you.
Please elaborate. Teach us what you mean.
So this is what I'm saying. So I'm gonna speak to the game of football. Okay. So every football field is 100 yards long and about 50 yards wide. All the hash marks are the tick marks. Everything is the same. The only difference is the people in the crowd. So when you practice every week, those long hours, you feel. You don't practice in the stands. What stands going on should not affect your play. If you really zoned in and tuned in who you really are and paid attention to practice and got those mental reps and those physical, what's going on outside, it doesn't matter. And if it's what you do, play above the noise.
So that sports, they say art imitates life. I think they need to say sports imitate life.
Absolutely.
Too. Because if you think about it, man, most of the things that we try to overcome in our day-to-day lives, we have audiences and we have crowds too that make a lot of noise. Yep. And we have to play above the noise and don't let the noise play us. Think about this, man. Most of us who are out there trying to chase our dreams, start our businesses, start our families, whatever we're trying to do, we hear a lot of noise from the stands. And what a lot of people don't understand is that some people, depending on what game you're playing, they shouldn't be allowed in your arena. Some people need to stay tailgating. They can support you, but they have to be at a distance because some of the people who are dressed in your same colors of your team can boo you to a false start.
True.
They can do it because if they're in the position of a fan, they are led by their emotions too. And sometimes their emotions can affect your strategy.
Right.
And so sometimes we do have to make sure that we understand the fans' role in our journey. Fans can't be on the field with you. They can only tell you how they feel about what you're doing. But until they're put on them pads with you and face the same obstacles, because I've never seen a fan blitz before. I've never seen a fan have to adjust to an audible before.
Right.
I've never seen a fan have to spy a mobile quarterback for 4 quarters like you have before. You know what I mean? So, I think what you just said is extremely important. A lot of us need to understand who we are and what we're doing and what games are being played and what sports are at play, because there's a such thing. It's a difference between a sport and a game. A sport is something that sparks. You give a spark, and the game is something. It's like an obstacle to see how you treat your own spark. You know what I mean? So I put it like this: sports don't have a score. Games do.
Right.
The sport itself is not about comparison. It's literally about growth and testing your knowledge and your might. When there's a game being played, you're being compared to someone else, and that's what a lot of people have to be very, very careful and cognizant about, because comparison to other people, you could play according to their level. I'm gonna give you an example. You know this very well. I know you've been on teams where y'all probably were undefeated, number one in any rank or region, and then you play somebody who was a 1-8 team, undisciplined, all over the place, but for some strange reason, once you played with them, their mediocrity kind of rubbed off on your team and you played at their level.
Right.
So that's the reason why I tell people you have to be careful competing with people who are not playing the same type of game as you. Because yeah, man, and I'm telling you, and competition, healthy competition is one thing. Competing with any and everyone just to feel better about yourself, you could lose even if you win the game. Because that team who doesn't have any discipline, the only thing they need to do is get you out your character. They can give you the game. They don't care about their record anyway.
Right.
They just want to get you off your square. They want to get you off your game. They want to take you out of your character. And by the time you lose, by the time you leave the arena anyway, they've already won because they made you concentrate on them for 60 minutes instead of the other way around.
Yeah, those teams, the 1-8 teams that don't have anything to lose.
Right. Exactly. So that's what a lot of people may not understand. We could be surrounded by a lot of people who have nothing to lose. That's the reason why they come with trick plays. They come and be reckless. They'll try to get you to play off sides. They push and shove after the whistle blows just to see how you're going to respond. And I'm glad that you brought it up, man, because ever since I've known you, you've had sports analogies that made the perfect sense. The reason why sports analogies work with kids is because they see things, they see games all the time. Kids play games, so they understand the concept of winning and losing. They get introduced to it at a very, very young age. So by the time you bring them into sports, that's the reason why a lot of kids get inspired so quick, because now it looks like they can control their destiny a little bit better than they did before they were introduced to sports. Right. You know what I mean? And I think it's very, very important that we have honest conversations with the kids and honest conversations with these parents too, so they can understand what avenues they can take to establish a deeper and stronger connection with their children. So we already did music, which is inspiration. We talked about the spark of sports. Right. Now, a lot of people, I want people to know this, man. I've known you for some years, going on about 20 years, right, bro. You are one of the most intellectual, let me make sure I say this in a way that I can understand. Your intelligence is almost like a stealth bomber, if that makes any sense. And I mean that as a compliment, right? So when someone is on stealth mode, it's almost like your intelligence, everybody can feel it, but it's not on the radar. But everybody can feel it when you're in the room. You know, they understand that you're a thinking person. Just like you said, you were a quiet storm. Possibly the reason why people overthought when they played you is because if you're not talking any smack, that means you're about to provide the smack down. That's what a lot of people don't understand. If you're not talking smack, that means you're about to bring the smack. Right. You feel me? So how did your intellect and your approach to education, how did it get to the level it is right now, and start discussing where you're trying to take it? So how did it get to this level, and then what motivates you to take it even farther?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say I'm gratefully humbled by what you said. I just read. I write a lot. I think that's a healthy expression, especially those that don't talk a lot. I don't know exactly what point I'm at, but I will say this: just because you know something, or just because you're aware of something, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to speak on it. What that has done for me is that it allowed me to learn a lot more. Mm-hmm. If I'm in a room, a whole bunch of superintendents, all right, mm-hmm, they are older, they've been around the block, and they've seen a lot of things. I come in, I'm fresh out of my doctorate program. I've just read 4 or 5 books. I know all the notes, the procedures, the protocols. And while they're in there talking, I'm talking about, what I know. But they're talking about their experience. Tell me, what book can you find somebody's personal experience?
Not many.
So when I go into every situation, if I'm sitting there quiet, it doesn't mean that I don't like you. It doesn't mean that, I want to fight you or anything like that. I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm observing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making sure I take in everything about you. I'm learning exactly what you're trying to say or saying. It also gives me an opportunity to research because, like you said, you're a student. I'm always a student. In order to be a teacher, I think you have to be a student at all times. If you're not a student at all times, you can get stuck and remain non-progressive. If you know anything about this world, and if there's anything that 2020 has shown us, you have to be progressive. You have to embrace change. It's not so much what I know. I just think, my approach to learning is what's got me to where I am.
I tell people all the time, your approach is your business. A lot of people may not understand that. You can have the best heart in the world, but if your strategy is slaw, you don't have any curriculum. Yeah, and I tell my students all the time, there is no curriculum without connection. You can be the smartest person in the world, don't know how to talk or don't know how to listen. And that's what a lot of people may not understand. I have a lot of teachers now that I work with in specific counties around the country that say, well, it's something must be wrong with the student. And I said, well, how can you jump to that conclusion just because you have a disconnect? I said, I look at children like TV sets. Just because the picture's not coming through doesn't mean I got to throw the TV away.
Right.
You know what I mean? Something's wrong with the cord, or maybe I didn't pay my bill. You know what I mean? So a lot of things take place before we just throw the kid away. And I'm gonna put it like this too. I have a lot of parents, and I want you to chime in on this too. You got a lot of parents who have less patience than the teachers they send their child to, right? And I have a lot of parents now, and something that I see that's very, very dangerous, but I see it's very common. I have parents who are assuming they have the experience to diagnose their children. They're becoming mental health professionals in their own households, right? And I'm gonna give you an example.
Okay.
Hey, Dr. Pugh, my son, obviously, I think he has ADHD or behavior disorder. He needs medication. Right. And the first thing I look at the parent and I say, I hear you. I have to acknowledge that they said it. I don't go around disagreeing because I don't know them, right? But I always ask this one question. I want you to respond to this if you don't mind. I always ask the parent, what measures have you considered before you even start saying medication out loud to your child? What did you like? What has been attempted before you start talking about medication? Because I'm talking about third, fourth, and fifth graders. We're talking about babies. You know what I mean? So I want to get your take on that.
Well,
when we have people who don't know exactly the approach to take, they jump the gun or they jump to conclusions. And I see medication as one of the conclusions that a lot of people love to jump to. So what's your take on that?
I would say first and foremost, understand medication creates dependency.
Okay.
You want your child to be dependent on medication for the rest of their lives, then by all means. I'm not here to tell you how to raise your child. But I think my experience is the best results you get is when you create or make medication the last resort. I say this because a lot of our kids, well, all of our kids have a backpack. All right, I'm building a metaphor right here. All right, they have an emotional backpack. You never know what's in that backpack because when they wake up in the morning, they're probably dealing with hormones. They're probably dealing with, what's occurred last night, the girlfriend that broke up with them, or whatever it may be. And the way they approach that may be different. Oh,
my bad, bro.
Good.
Go ahead.
It may be different than what you know, specifically as it pertains to your generation. So I would say that you try to know what's in that emotional backpack. I think once you find out what's in that emotional backpack, it'll help you with what your next steps need to be. The process of getting and gaining medication should be a long, progressive, I'm going to say long, but a very progressive process.
Right.
You have, explored avenues like talking with the teachers, asking the teachers, what are y'all seeing in the classrooms? What type of things are triggering my child to act out the way they're acting? Making sure you understand what type of triggers are happening at the house. And when I say trigger, a trigger doesn't necessarily mean that it's negative. A trigger is just something that causes a reaction, right? So
right.
If my child gets overjoyed when they turn on the game system, then we know that's a positive trigger. All right? But let's say, for instance, the smells a smell that is familiar to them, but it's familiar to them in a bad way, and the way they respond to that could be a negative trigger. All right, so you figure out what that is. You make sure you dial into your village, because your child has a village whether you realize it or not.
Correct.
Teachers, they have those administrators, they have those counselors, and sometimes they have those social workers. And what I would like parents to understand is that you have more resources than you may realize. Most of our counties and most of our schools, whether they're private or public, are investing in mental health and therapy for our kids. Sometimes you just have to ask. So if you can find out and try to build a community around that child first, you may find that medication might not even be needed. Now, it's the point to where it gets outside that realm, and you may need to seek medical assistance or medical opinion. I would say that you let the doctor know, whoever the physician is, of what your ultimate goal is. If you want your child on medication, by all means, I'm sure they can sign off on something for you. But if you want your child to have aid or support during their learning or during times where they need it most, most doctors and most rational human beings will work with you. And they will say, well, okay, maybe medication isn't the right thing. Let's try this, or let's try that. Have you tried this? Sure that your intentions are clear, and everybody who's a part of your village knows what those intentions are, including the child.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for that. Last but not least, I want you to talk to the child who has a parent or parents who do not advocate for their education. So let me give you an example. If I'm a child and the teacher's constantly saying, hey, you can do this, but your parent has to do it. Your parent has to request it. Your parent this, your parent that. The child goes home. Hey, mom, dad, grandma, whoever. Hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. You don't need to do all of that. I'm not signing that for you. You don't need no help. You just need to try harder, right? I need you to talk directly to the kid who has to fight the system and their parents to get ahead in life. What would you say to that child?
I would say, first and foremost, understand that we're here to help you. Your mom loves you. She wants the best for you. Or your dad loves you. Your parents love you. They want the best for you. I want the best for you. I think our approaches are different. I would say that me and you, we have a relationship that maybe I don't think your parent is aware of or knows what the context of that includes. So if you don't mind, I'd like to speak to your parent. Just let them know where I'm coming from so they understand exactly what part am I playing in your village. And I say that because I'm stepping outside that third person speaking to the child may feel intimidated. And they may say things like that to a child because they may not understand or may not know. So a lot of times as human nature, our defense mechanisms and our reactions to certain stimulus is going to be different. I'm not necessarily here to tell who's right or who's wrong. But what I am saying is that we need to come together and create an understanding and create this community, because at the end of the day, this child has one opportunity. All right, especially when you're coming through school, you really have one opportunity to go through school. And once you finish that 12th grade year, what does that mean for you? What have you done during those 12 years of education that's going to set you up for life? So I so that the child understands that I want to speak to their parent, but I also want to make sure I create a bigger picture for that child. So that the world doesn't always operate within the realm of confinement. Understanding that one day that, mom and dad is important, but at some point they're going to want you to fend for your own. You're going to take things that you've learned from them and you things that you learned in the school. Make sure you know what fits each scenario. Everything that you learn does not fit every scenario. So like I said, I just make sure that a child understands that we're here as part of their village, not as opposing counsel or anything to get what they've been raised and known to do all their lives.
I encounter a lot of kids who they've had barriers produced by adults, all the adults in their life. And when they see a new adult who has a genuine interest in their
Right.
development, they have a natural defense mechanism. And so you have a lot of counselors, education consultants, professionals like yourself. Even when they come in, they do have to establish that connection with the kid because the kid has been scarred for I don't know how many years. So now you got to, like, when I go to schools now, they say, "What you going to do in your first month?" I said, "Establish trust."
Mm.
They're like, "Well, what's your curriculum?" I say, "Establish trust." I said, "Because I'm specifically here because the kids are looking to see how they can communicate with adults.
Right.
If they don't know how to communicate with adults, how can I actually get the curriculum through? They don't even know how to communicate with me.
Mm.
So they have to get to know me. They're not going to learn. Children from the ones that I've been in contact with, it takes a lot more work to learn from people you don't know and don't trust.
Mm.
So the only thing I do in the first month is I'm here to establish trust. So guess what I do? As soon as I come in, what we learning today? I say, y'all finna learn me. I say, y'all get out a pen and piece of paper, write down any question you got, and I'm gonna answer all of them until time is up. And we're gonna do this all month. And so to that point where they put me through situations where I have to be honest with them, then they test my character because they're going to see if I really care about them. Is my demeanor inside the classroom the same demeanor in the hallway? If they see me in the hallway, is it the same way when they see me at Walmart or the barber shop? Do I still have the same enthusiasm in my voice to see them when I'm in the school, possibly getting paid to do something, versus at the church where it's free? Do I have the same character? Do I have the same consistency? And when you don't have consistency, you don't have a curriculum. Because soon as a child figures out that you was one way over here and you was a different way over there, they call it sometimey. They were like, "Oh, Mr. Pugh, you sometimey." So you know what I mean. So I really appreciate what you just said. What I want to do now, and I don't want to leave this because you slick. I know you. So we're going to get into your future endeavors with education, your intellect, your academics, your wherewithal. Yeah. So we're not finna move from that. So give us a couple of your goals, your aspirations when it comes down to education, your business, your family structure. What do you see in the future? We want to know all of that, Mr. Taylor. Go for it.
Well, since you broke it down like that, and you want out there like that, bro, I definitely appreciate it. But first and foremost, talk about my family. Right.
Yeah.
My goal for my family, man, is raise a generation. At the end of the day, I think right now I have an opportunity to, put forth something good in society, man. And honestly, that's what I want to do. I'd
Mm-hmm.
love to share that with someone. If it happens, it happens. If not, it's not. But at the end of the day, it's not going to stop me from doing what I need to do as far as
Mm-hmm.
I can. That being said, brother, I do aspire to be Dr. Taylor.
Sorry about that. My bad. My bad. My
Got
bad. Go ahead.
a doctorate program at the University of Miami.
The you. Go ahead and say it right. You used to try to make. You made me say the you. You ain't even told. You told me I couldn't even say Miami in front of you. I had to say the you.
Yeah. That meant a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
School at Georgia Southern meant a lot. It meant a lot to me as well because it gave me an opportunity to showcase my talents.
Mm-hmm.
University of Miami has been in me since I was born and raised. I've watched Hurricane football dominate. Let me say that again. Dominate.
Dominates.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't help if that's in my blood.
Mm-hmm.
I did take an alternative route, well, where I had to enlist in the United States Navy. I did have to serve some time. What that did give me was it equipped me with discipline. And it's not so much the discipline to where, I'm rigid and, I'm here to tell somebody what to do and everything. But I think it helped me learn how to set my priorities and my boundaries. And understanding that, I took that to Georgia Southern. All right. And now I want to be a doctor.
You was put like this, man. When you were in, listen, when I met you, you were studying something called biophysics. Whatever I call it, I didn't know what it was. I just knew it was evil because when I saw your homework, bro, whatever project you were working on, I was like, yeah, he's not even using letters. I don't like
Yeah.
that. So it was just a page full of numbers,
Yeah.
formulas. Man, I was sitting there like, hey, what you into? You like, oh no, man, what they're talking about right here. And I remember this like it was yesterday. Dude, you said something like latissimus
Oh,
muscle. I almost pushed
sure.
you. Like, because you don't understand. I failed exercise science. I don't like exercise and I don't like science. So I just failed both
Yeah.
of them. And when you combine them, that
Yeah.
ain't nothing but the devil. So, so when you talking about latissimus, you start breaking down all the, I like, hey man, whenever you're ready to go to the, buffet, just let me know. I'll let you have all of that. But man,
Oh,
you've been, you've been academically astute since I met you, man. Like the things that you set your mind to, they get done so efficiently. And I know for all the kids and the parents, that's what a lot of people don't understand. The kids that be around you, the parents are going to get exposure too. So as soon as they enroll in Inspire to Motivate, those parents can't help but to get the things that spill off on the children.
right.
You feel me? So that's why, like when I hear when the parents are seeing this, they're going to be like, man, if my child benefits, this is what a lot of people don't get. If your child becomes a better person by enrolling and being exposed to Inspire to Motivate, they're going to grow up to be functional adults. If they grow up to be a functional adults, if you become an elder, you will have people in your family that's going to help you in your later
Right.
years. That's what a lot of people don't get. When you invest in your child, that investment comes back to you in so many different ways. That's why I want them to understand when they enroll in Inspire to Motivate, they have a person who is family oriented.
Right.
They have the mindset of a person who's not only been in school in several aspects, but has served in the armed forces. You know what I mean? Who've been in professional sports, who's been in the school system, who's actually going to further their academic progress at the doctoral level, a terminal degree.
Right.
So it's only like when they get inspired to motivate, they will be inspired and motivated as well. It's just not for the kids. When I see you inspired to motivate, when you came out with it, bro, I settled down. I was like, man, that's gonna help everybody with a heartbeat.
Mm.
That's the first thing I seen it. I said, man, I know children are gonna benefit, but if the children benefit, guess what the elders gonna get? The elders are gonna get children in their family who are functional human beings who actually want to give back. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, you and I had OGs and coaches that did what we're doing. So you know what I mean. So it's only going to feed itself, man. So if anybody's hearing this, hope when y'all heard Charrod Taylor talk about his journey, his likes, his inspirations, his goals, and his current status on this planet as a student of the game of life, and he's willing to pass that game down to everybody. I hope people take advantage of it. That's the reason why I wanted to do this interview, man. And this is one of many interviews we're gonna do, man. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I have to know what you're learning in your doctoral program, and I'm gonna be interviewing you while you in it. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Your brain in a doctoral level, I promise you this. I know this gonna sound strange, but it's the truth, and I stand by it, and I will defend it in front of everybody. You're going to contribute more to your program that you're going to get out of
Mm.
it.
Fact.
I know that. I know that for a fact because I know you. I know you. You done seen too much for them to think that somebody who prints something in the book is going to be more like dense than the lived experiences you had to go through and the ones you had to
Right.
witness. Trust me on that. I know you're going to contribute more than you get out of, but your contribution is going to cause you to get more out of your program.
Mm.
So it's a win-win for you. So I wanted, on behalf of Manhood Mindset, bro, I congratulate you, man. I congratulate you. I congratulate you. I'm proud of you. There's literally nothing you can't do, bro. I really just want to sit back. You like free cable, bro. I just sit back and just watch you live, man. It's extremely inspirational, motivational, but you're entertaining too, bro. I watched you play ball. And the funny thing is, you never left the field. You bring the field in the classroom. I didn't see you do it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now I want you, we about to see you you about to bring the grass to class. And everybody know what I mean too. You know what I mean? Everybody know what I mean. Everybody know what I mean. So, but no, man, Mr. Taylor, I want you to finish this this interview with anything that you want the people to know, how to get with you, how to donate, how to educate, whatever you want them to know about you before we conclude.
First of all, I'm gonna say thank you, the Manhood Mindset.
All
Dr.
day.
Q, I appreciate you for having me on your platform. That's a lot of love to give. Secondly, I'd just like to say, if you are looking to be a part of this work, because it is work, it requires a lot of consistency and it requires a lot of members, a lot of work parts. Please contact me. You can contact me through my webpage, Insphigher2motivate.com, or you can also email me at Insphigher2motivate@gmail.com. Also, what you'll find there, you also find that you also offer scholarships. So I know we have some seniors coming up this year. We have 4 scholarships we offer. First is the Clarence Tillman Hand of Friendship Scholarship. We also offer the Timothy Saunders Perseverance Scholarship. I've partnered with Pronto Transportation to bring forth the Uplift Scholarship, and also partnered with Play Above the Noise for another scholarship that provides access to HBCUs for village students.
Hey, man.
Yes.
Hey, sometimes you just got to have a slow clap. You know, you got to have a slow clap. You already given scholarships.
Yes,
and you just challenged me, man. There's no reason for me not to be at a place where I can give out scholarships.
Yes.
There's no reason. So you just made me look at one of my excuses, and I'll be reaching out to you to see how I can get that going too, and how I can invest in your scholarships for these kids.
Also, I know there are some people who are looking to mention to get funding and grants of that nature. Understand that with the legislation that just passed, that 55 or almost 6,000 page document, within that document, there is some legislation, grant and opportunities for upstarts of new businesses, and those are businesses that are also in place. Now, I said grants. I didn't say loans. I said grant.
Right, grants. Yeah, right.
If you are a sponsor, you're part to help your community, I say be a part of that army. Like, and there are resources out here for us. All we got to do is research. So if you have any questions on that, you can reach out to me on that as well. Other than that, brother, like I said, I'm just happy to be here. I appreciate you having me on, and it's always
love, man. And we're gonna sit down and gonna get some charcoal, some lighter fluid, a nice size grill, and there will not be an animal safe this side of Atlanta.
Specifically,
it's specifically chicken. All right. We're gonna do some salmon. We'll talk. We don't let everybody know our business like that. But no, on behalf of Manhood Mindset. Oh man, I just had something just happen. On behalf of Manhood Mindset, that you can't make that up, bro. This is what life is about. Something just happened that was strange. I can't edit it out. Well, on behalf of Manhood Mindset, this is Dr. Mary Christopher Pugh. We are here with Mr. Brother, future doctor. I said it. Now do something about it later. Future Dr. Charrod Q. Taylor. All right, from Insphigher2motivate. Please reach out to him, Insphigher2motivate.inc.com. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All righty. And so also, too, if you need any or could use any support with any of your children, your family members, business partners, or you personally, you can reach out to me at manhoodmindset.com. Just look at all the things that we have to offer. Parents, teachers, administrators, students, anybody with a heartbeat, you got the help. You have not because you ask not. Make sure you reach out to Mr. Taylor for Insphigher2motivate. And also, too, man, pick his brain. He's not going to say it about himself, but he will show you before he tells you. You're very genuine person. And every child that I've seen come into contact with you, they gravitate to your strength and your attention to detail. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say this last, and I'll let you go. A lot of people who don't say much say what needs to be said.
Mm.
So I really appreciate you, brother. I really do, man. Congratulations on all your endeavors, all your aspirations is already there, homie. We can't wait to witness it, bro. So proud of you. Thank you, man. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. Happy holidays to you and yours.
Same to you, dog. Rue.
All right, yeah, Rudy.